Yeah, we're here.
Oh
Just
boy.
for here.
Wait. Don't shoot, don't
Get
shoot,
your
don't shoot.
RPG. Get your RPG. Already hit that is.
So we're gonna land here now. I'm gonna fuck him up.
I've got my sniper out.
I'll wait till he lands. Oh shit.
It's one of ours
Is that
shooting him.
teammate? Is that teammate?
Yeah.
Oh shit, he's going down, he's dead.
Patchy down.
Push over. If you've been enjoying the vanilla Arma Reforger, but the modded side feels a bit intimidating, too many servers, too many mods, and no clue where to start, I get it. In this video, I'll break it all down. I'll show you how to gear up fast using the Bacon Loadout Editor, walk you through my personal go-to loadout, and I'll give you a few solid tips to help you survive and actually enjoy your first steps into modded Reforger. For the purpose of this video, I've deleted all the mods that I currently had on my PC, and I'll show you how to download individual mods if you wanted to do that. In the popularity section, you'll see all the most popular ones, including Where Am I? This is a really good mod because unlike the vanilla version, it allows you to open up the map and see exactly where you are. Some people say it's cheating, sod 'em. Quite simple, just press download on that individual mod and it downloads. But we don't need to do that. The server that I recommend will tell you and install everything that you need. So if we go into multiplayer and type in the search bar MMO, that's Mother Oscar, you'll see that I've already got a lot of these favorited. That's because the Mass Millionaire official servers are some of the best in modded Arma Reforger at the moment. MMO isn't a sponsored pick. I'm not linked with the owners at all. I found this server by chance while looking for a clean modded conflict server, and I've stuck with it ever since. It runs conflict mode on the Iraq Ramadi map, which for me is the most popular and action-packed setup in Arma Reforger right now. What makes this server stand out is how well it's run. The admins keep things properly moderated and in shape without going overboard with rules. You're not micromanaged, but the experience stays smooth, fair and enjoyable. The community itself is really welcoming, especially for new players. Everyone's helpful, from loadout advice to gameplay tips, and the Discord makes it easy to link up, learn the ropes or find teammates. Plus, they've nailed the balance between PC and console. The mods they use are chosen carefully, keeping console download limits in mind. That's a big deal, because not every modded server does that. Their Discord is linked in the description below, and so is mine. If you want to squad up with me, ask questions, or jump in on a session with the Raider squad, that's the best place to do it. I'll finish downloading these mods, and then I'll meet you at the arsenal. Okay, now we're at the arsenal, and if you've played the vanilla version of Arma Reforger, this layout should feel familiar. On the left side, you've got your main combat gear, means weapons, ammo, explosives, and other lethals. Right side, it's all about your equipment and clothing. Things like helmets, medical supplies, maps, and binoculars. We'll start on the right side, since that's where you build the foundation of your loadout. Your uniform, gear, and everything that keeps you alive before the shooting even starts. Usually you just drag and click, move things over from the arsenal to your backpack or put it straight into your uniform. And it's what we know. There's nothing wrong with it, it definitely has its place, but there is an easier way. If we come out of this and then take ourselves into the Bacon Loadout Editor, first tab up top is clothing, that's where we'll start. I'm going to head into the hat category, where we choose our helmet or headwear. And as you'll see, I'll click through a few options just to preview what's available. There's actually a decent selection here, more than vanilla, obviously, but it's not overwhelming like what you get on a WCS style server with hundreds and hundreds of items. It's curated just right. My usual go-to is called the Spartan 3MC. And now moving on to the jacket, I like to go with the VKPO 3.0 Summer Combat Shirt in MC. Just like the helmet, this one blends in really well with the terrain on the Iraq Ramadi map. Next we're on to the armoured vest, and I like to run the Wartech TV 119 in MC. After that we'll move on to pants. I'll go through the selection of these as well, but the ones that I like to utilise are the VKPO 3.0 Summer Combat Pants, and if you haven't guessed, that's in MC. Now for the boots.
They're called my sandals.
I go for the Faraday 1085s. Solid, simple, and they fit the look of the loadout without standing out. Moving on to the backpack. You can use a sitting mat. We've got the radio backpack. You even have the medic backpack. This is what the medic backpack looks like. Very fetching. I like to use the Wartech BB 102 backpack for cut in MC. Now we move on to the vest, or the pouch preset that I like to use. I like to use the second Wartech TV 102. And that's also the MC version. With that selected, we'll then move on to the handwear. There's 5 selections you can pick from here. We've got the medic, the leather, woolen, and we've got 2 lots of mechanic. I like to use the Coyote mechanic gloves. Moving on to armband. Now I would say that usually you should leave this on so that your own team can identify you clearly. However, the MMO server does have a very good name tag system, which if you stay around until the end, I'll share a top tip so that you can see people across the map. So with that in mind, we'll take it off. In the head section, you can put on a balaclava if you want to be a roadman. And I think on the rest of these, it's just neck. Yep. The ghillie suits for some reason are in neck. Yeah, here's the ghillie suits. I will put a scarf on just to cover a bit of skin. Before we leave the clothing tab, you look here on hat, see on the right side, this little icon here. This means we can go into the hat menu further. So if you're on PC, that would be the X button. If you're on PlayStation, that would be the square button. And if you're on Xbox, that would be the X button. The first option within the submenu is goggles. And there's loads of silly goggles here. You can go as mental as you like. I personally go for the Vipery Strelok Mist. They're subtle, they darken the eye area nicely, and they don't throw off any glare. Next up, masks. Technically, yeah, they're all balaclavas. You could run a desert tone one for that proper camo vibe, or the anti-frag masks if you want something a bit cooler. But on this server, we've got access to the Ghost Skull balaclava. And it doesn't matter whether you're playing Call of Duty or Arma Reforger, if you get the chance to be Ghost, you be Ghost.
Choices have consequences.
Now I'll move on to the helmet patches. If we go down to the right Velcro, MMO actually have their own private military soldiers patch, so I like to put that one on there. We move to the left Velcro. Because I'm hopelessly patriotic, I'll have the England flag, but not the bright one. So this is what it looks like. Next is the MVGs, the night vision goggles. I run the AN PVS dual white phosphor. Gives a clean image, wide view, and none of that eye melting green glow. But if you want to go full predator mode, scroll down to the patrol IR. That one's a thermal. Great for picking up heat signatures, just know that it cuts your peripheral vision. You will see them first, unless they flank you. Moving on to the headset, I like to pick the Impact Sport earmuffs. On this server, this allows me to press F2 to dim the sound of shooting and vehicles, which allows me to hear the comms more clearly. And I believe it's LB and down on the D-pad for Xbox, and L1 and down on the D-pad for PlayStation. You can then add a light to the left or right of your helmet, and then we can go further into the armoured vest section, which the icon on the right shows me. From this we can add more plates. I'm not going to. Although I will add another patch, because why not? Let's add it to the chest. Find the England flag again. Fantastic. Can't even see it. We can then go further into the vest. Nothing we can do here. And if we change the tab at the top to gear, you can change the binos, you can choose whatever wristwatch you want. The wristwatch also works as a compass. That's one less thing to carry in our gear. This is where you keep your personal belongings. Then the primary, secondary weapon, grenade and throwable, we would do all from the other arsenal. And then if we move over to the inventory tab, we've got jacket. I like to put my equipment in the jacket. So just the important things that we need would be a map. We've got a watch. We don't need a flashlight. We need a radio. We need the entrenching tool, the shovel, the build. I'd say that's about it. You could put your medical supplies in here, but I typically like to utilise the trousers for those. Everything that I like to take fits perfectly in the trousers. We take a tourniquet, a bandage, 6 of those. Morphine injector, 6 of those as well. Saline solution. Ammonium carbonate, the really good one. It's basically smelling salts. And then I like to take one of all the others. So the epinephrine, metoprolol, naloxone, phenylephrine. And I'll put a picture up now of the medications and the uses, in case you want to pause it and see what everything does. And then lastly, we've got the backpack, which we'll put some stuff in from the other side of the arsenal. So if we move over to the left now, and we can open up the arsenal as usual, and again, drag things over, drag things in, open them up from this menu. But we're going to utilise the Bacon Loadout Editor again. So if we open that up, the clothing we did over on the other side. But we can now enter the gear section and do the weapons. So for my first primary weapon, I like to use the AK-105, which is a short barrel carbine version of the AK-74M rifle. The secondary, I'll use the Sword International MK18. It's a high caliber AR-15 pattern rifle. It's semi-automatic and designed for long range combat. Feel free to add a pistol, I typically don't. We already have our grenade, and for the throwables, I will add a smoke. And again, we can go further into these tabs. So on the primary weapon, if I press X or square on PS, Y on Xbox, I like to swap this sight out. I prefer the Spectre DR 1 to 4 times. The reflex sight's also quite good, but I prefer the Spectre. I rarely use the mounted scout light, so I'll take that off, try and save some weight. We'll keep the RK2 grip. You can always attach an under barrel grenade launcher if you like. And I don't really use the laser sight either, so we'll get rid of that also. We'll keep the silencer, and I'm happy with the rounds as well. Now moving on to the MK18. I'd like to change the rounds for the armor piercing rounds. I'll swap the dovetail scope for the 3.5 to 10 times. I'll leave the suppressor on, and then we can move over to the inventory tab. Go back to the backpack and we can put our rounds in here. This is a great feature of the Bacon Loadout Editor. It actually highlights the ammo that works with the guns you've already picked. No more scrolling through 100 different mags like you're trying to crack a safe. I selected the armor piercing rounds, so I'll put 8 of those in the backpack. But the AK rounds I'll show you when I come out of this, we'll do that at the arsenal. And then if we change tabs, we'll have 2 grenades, so 3 in total, and we'll add 2 more smokes, which will also be 3 in total. Now I'm over on the weapons attachments tab. I'm grabbing the ITW S315A sight. It's a thermal optic, and right now it's pitch black out here, so I'm planning ahead. A quick way to grab mags is to scroll down in the arsenal and hit the take active weapons ammunition. For me on PC that's bound to F. On PlayStation you'll hold square, and on Xbox hold Y. I tend to stick with 8 mags for each weapon. It's just enough firepower without me needing a wheelbarrow. Any more and I'd need a tea break halfway through the engagement. If we hop back into the regular arsenal, I'm going to move all of those AK mags into my backpack. It's not really necessary, but I've got a bit of OCD with this stuff. Next I'll set up my quick slots. I'll put in the tourniquet, bandages, morphine, saline solution, and I'll use the shovel for the last one, just in case I need to dig my own grave. And that's the lot. Looking like a full certified big boy. We're sitting at 41.5 kg at the moment. But without that thermal scope, I'll be closer to 40, which is usually where I like to be. And we've still got a bit of room left, just in case we need to pick up anything useful off the enemy mid-fight. Now we need to save it, and there's two ways I like to save the loadout. I always do both just in case. First, head into the regular arsenal, scroll down and hit save loadout. Just remember, you can only save items that belong to your current faction, so here it will say save loadout, Iraqi Resistance Force items only. Hold F on PC to save and you'll see a quick confirmation in the top right corner. Next, scroll back up to the Bacon Loadout Editor, switch to the Loadouts tab, and you'll see a bunch of empty slots. Hover over one, then press X or right click to save your kit. On console, that's square on PS or Y on Xbox. And now that's saved, here's a quick tip to stop you from accidentally team killing half your squad. We're going to open up the CSI, that's the Coalition Squad interface. On PC, we'd press Control and Home. On Xbox, hold the Start button and press right on the D-pad. Or on PlayStation, hold the Options button and do the same, right on the D-pad. There's multiple options here, but we're going to change the name tag's range and put that right up. I also like to have the rank visible. And now that you've done all of that, next time you load into that same server, no matter what time, your loadout will be there waiting for you. Just open the Bacon Loadout Editor, head over to the Loadouts tab and drop straight into your Raider kit. So now you know how to build, save and deploy properly. But does your game actually look good while you do it? If you haven't already, go check out my best settings guide. I break down everything from visuals to FPS to help you get the absolute most out of Arma Reforger. Train hard, raid harder.